We're going to jump to this story here, bring it back to the United States. From Washington, from NBC Washington, D.C. police chief remains in charge after federal hostile takeover attempt, AG says. D.C.'s chief of police remains the chief of police, the district attorney general said after a court hearing on what he called a hostile takeover attempt by the federal government. He called the judge's decision a very important win for home rule. Less than 12 hours after the Trump administration seemingly replaced Washington, D.C.'s police chief with a federal officer, the district was in federal court on Friday to try to block the move. Attorney General Brian Schwab filed a lawsuit against the federal government claiming President Donald Trump far exceeded the authority granted him in D.C.'s Home Rule Act and the Administrative Procedure Act and the U.S. Constitution. I don't know that that's correct about the Constitution, at least, because the Constitution does lay out that the district area is not an actual state. It's not. It's an area that is actually controlled by the feds, if I understand correctly. So don't quote me on that. I could be wrong.
I think you're right, but I don't know.
The federal judge overseeing the lawsuit said the law doesn't allow the federal government to name a new police chief, but the city can't completely keep them out either. U.S. District Judge Ann Reyes asked the two sides to hammer out a compromise, but promised to issue a court order temporarily blocking the administration from naming a new chief if they couldn't agree. I'm encouraged by the judge's remarks and the federal government making the changes that were suggested, and the judge's willingness to rule if that's not satisfactory, Mayor Muriel Bowser said after the hearing. How D.C. enforces federal immigration laws in response to homeless people are key issues. D.C. and federal officials are expected to keep talking over the weekend about the general orders that Drug Enforcement Administration boss Terry Cole rescinded. Now, how they deal with homeless people is something that legitimately is for D.C. to discuss, decide on its own, but they do have to deal with homeless people. But when it comes to things like immigration, that's ICE, and it's always ICE. It's always Homeland Security and Immigration and Customs Enforcement. There's no gray area about that. The localities, when there's sanctuary cities, all that means is our local police forces aren't going to help the federal officers, but that doesn't mean that the federal officers don't have jurisdiction over immigration and customs and stuff. So when they're dealing with illegal immigrants, it's always ICE's, it's always ICE's jurisdiction.
Yeah.
So I don't know that there's an argument to be had about that.
Well, the gray area I would argue about I think that because it's like this is a thing about being a human. You're told law and order are very important. Law and order, uphold the law. But then it's like you watch what happened with the Nazis persecuting the Jews and like them people hiding Jewish people in their homes and lying and protecting them overtly. And they were the good guys in the story. From the way I heard the story, were the people that violated the law and that were like, no, we're doing what we believe is right for our neighbors. You're some federal cop. Get out of my house.
Do you believe that that hiding Jews from the Nazis is comparable to hiding illegal immigrants from ICE?
Technically, yeah, comparable, not the same at all. Not the same at all. And different levels, of course. The immigration thing is way, way less abhorrent than persecuting a religious people or a culture in your society. Much, much worse. But the motions behind it of like, I'm protecting my neighbors from the federal people that are in here from DC, like that's a real, and we've been encouraged as Americans to do that. When the king comes and tries to take your land, you're like, get out of my land. This is our country now. We govern this, us.
What?
This is what we told the British to kick rocks when they tried to come in and, find our terrorists and arrest our terrorists, George Washington and John Adams, these guys. So this is just the thing. You see both sides of the mind working at once.
I think that it's a significant, when you're talking about illegal immigrants versus, an actual rebellion of Englishmen against Englishmen, I think it's a different thing. And I also think that it's a very different thing when you're talking about Jews being hidden by Germans from the Nazis.
The thing is law and order isn't always good. Sometimes law and order is evil. And
so
if you have evil law and order
to deport people,
I don't think so. No.
And what I'm trying to
I think some people do think it's evil. So they're going through this moral thing of like, I need to protect my neighbors from the
It's based out of ignorance.
If you think
ignorance
Trump is
of like the law and like, what did you say?
If you think Trump is Hitler.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
everybody's
yeah.
Hitler.
That's the because when the Nazis took over, the law became determined by the objectively bad guys, and so to break the law was good in that situation. So I guess if you think Trump is like that, is Germany, after the beer hall putsch and all that stuff with Hitler in power, then you think breaking this law is good, or
which is, I think, is devoid of reason to do that, because the media has been pushing that on people too, like saying Trump is Hitler and things like that.
Right.
So there's this, and then you get the woman crying as the baby's being taken out of her hands in a picture.
Oh, look at baby crying.
It's all
Shred the
propaganda.
Constitution.
It's out of not knowing too, and ignorance, and not paying attention.
right.
No, I know. Yeah.
So even if they don't know, still guilty.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I'm just saying, like,
Well, guilty until proven.
for some of them, they might actually just be genuinely stupid.
Might.
I mean, the moral dilemma is just, it's concurrent. It's going to come up again in the future in a different way.
I don't see it as a moral dilemma, because I think that it's immoral to allow people to stay here if they're illegal.
Right, the other
because
thing
it
is
is
they
it is a
came here-
problem for the existing people. If only because of the stuff that we talk about with the census, right? If you're going to count all of the people, not the citizens, but all of the people, and then that's how the apportionment of representation in the federal government is calculated. That means that all of the illegals that are here are diluting the political power of the citizens. Right? It's a few degrees removed, and it takes being able to think of downstream consequences to actually really to understand how this matters. But it's not moral to take the power of the voting power away from the existing population, the citizens, the people that have lived here their whole lives, and dilute that power by counting people that are not citizens. That's an immoral act too. So I understand there is a care argument. Well, we need to care for these people. They're here. We want to be compassionate, and we want to see these people live productive lives. And it's mean to deport them, and it's mean to have ICE pick them up, and it's mean to make it hard for them to live here. And we want to be nice, but that does not mean that it's moral to allow them to stay here. It's immoral to allow them to stay here because they came here and broke the law. And people that try to come here legally, that have been waiting, that have spent money,
Right.
It's immoral and does them a disservice. It's immoral to them. It's moral to get the people that are here that have broken the law to get here and that are violating the law by being here. It's actually the moral action to round those people up and send them back home, or make it difficult for them to live here so that way they leave of their own volition.
I think that it's a group of both positive and negative morals. It's immoral and moral. There's a lot of different moralities happening at once. So it would be like if you yell at your kid to stop doing something. Is that moral or immoral? Well, one parent might argue it's the moral thing to do because now they're not going to do the thing anymore. Whereas the other parent's going to argue it's immoral because now the kid's traumatized
What's
from being
the kid
screamed
trying
at.
to do?
Is he
Because
running
if
to the
one
street?
kid's punching his brother,
Yeah, is he running to the street?
So
Yeah,
the conversation gets more nuanced.
No.
What are these people trying to do here? Like, just their presence
right.
is diluting the voting base. That's a problem, a big immoral problem to allow. I agree with that. Now, grabbing them in the middle of the night, dragging them out by their hair, and sending them to a Salvadorian prison, also immoral in my opinion.
so hold on.
So how is it happening?
So you're dragging them out by their hair. You're coloring the conversation here.
I'm just adding nuance to
That's
the
not
way
adding
things-
nuance. That's coloring.
It's an instance of a possible immoral way to deal with an immoral situation.
The,
so
the
how are
point is, you're trying to make the action of rounding the people up that are here illegally. You're trying to make the action of doing it a violent, aggressive, malicious action, and it's not malicious. The ICE agents that are going to get people that are here illegally, they're not doing it out of malice.
Yeah, I
Right?
think
there is not a situation where they're like, let's go hurt them. It's not about hurting them. So grabbing them by their hair and yanking them out of bed, that is adding malice to the action. That is you coloring what the what's going on. So that way people feel bad for the people that are here legally and feel like the people enforcing the law are the bad guys.
Less about grabbing them by the hair, more about taking them without their stuff, leaving their stuff behind. Like that, they don't. ICE doesn't have a. I mean, they might have to go get their stuff eventually and send it.
That's why they should leave of their own volition.
I agree with that. I do agree with that. That's a nice way to kind of create a moralistic, solution, because there are lots of ways to solve this immoral problem in an even more immoral way. So we got to be careful about in introducing rounding people up at gunpoint, having them stripped down and marching them naked through the street, whatever.
You just can't do it.
Are they
Strip down
actually
naked through the
It's
street.
happened
You
through
just
millennia.
can't do it.
I mean, if they're doing that to like illegal gang members, then I'm okay with it. But are they actually doing that?
I haven't seen. I keep thinking about Sinfronta, the documentary that 6'7" Kevin just made about like how these people get here in the first place and how horrifying it is on their way here, and some don't make it, and most of them get assaulted in all terrible kinds of ways, and it kind of sends a message like, hey, we're not incentivizing you to continue to do it that way, because if you did it that way, you're going back. It is a tough moral thing to think about, because I don't like hurting,
If you make it difficult to live here and you make there be significant repercussions for coming here illegally, that is to deter people from coming. Yep. The point is you have to have negative consequences for coming here illegally. It can't just be, they were picked up, they got processed, sent back, and then they decided they just want to come back and they snuck through again. You have to make negative consequences for coming here. You can't come back ever. You'll never be an American citizen if you get picked up. You should, and I've talked about this multiple times on the show, you shouldn't be able to rent a place to live. Yeah. And if there's someone that owns property that's renting to an illegal, they should face significant fines, jail time, and possibly loss of their property. Same thing with people giving jobs to illegals. If you employ an illegal, you should face jail time, significant legal repercussions, possibly loss of property.
Yeah, because right now they're not afraid of the law. They're not listening to the law.
Yeah.
You have to make them afraid.
And it should be something, the Democrats say this all the time, and they're actually right about this. They're always like, the people that hire them never get in trouble. You're right. They should. They should lose their property. They should lose their businesses. Mm-hmm. It should be too scary to hire illegals. And illegals should have a hard time finding a job, and illegals should have a hard time finding a place to live. And that way they'll say, it's not worth coming to America because there's no benefit for me anymore. No one can find a place to rent. I can't find a place to rent to me. I can't find a job. No one will hire me because if they do, if the place gets raided by ICE, then they might lose their business. Mm-hmm. And remittances to other countries, tax that at 90%. You want to send money send money back home, you can only send 5% of what you've made, and all that money goes to the federal government. So they can't send their money back. So they stuff their...
Well, how would that one work? That's an
tax remittances. Idea. I'm not sure exactly the method, but they can do it, whether it be wiring money. It's possible that people would do things like buy crypto and get around it that way. But again, to buy crypto, there's a lot of crypto companies where you have to, KYC rules.
And it's all tracked on a network too. Eventually that stuff's coming back, all your crypto trades are public.
So, and it should be difficult to come to the United States and take advantage of basically loose liberal immigration laws. And if you do that, then you don't have a situation where people are getting ripped out of their homes by their hair and traipsed through the streets naked at night.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen because they're like, F this, I'm going home. I can't get a job here. It's not worth coming to the United States.
Is it happening?
It's worth it if you do it the legal way.
Yes.
My dad did it.
Sure.
My dad came from Africa.
Serge did it.
Ooh. And it took him like 10 years and thousands of dollars. Not saying it's easy. It's not easy to become an American citizen. But if you think it's worth it, then do it. But don't do it the illegal way, because just like you said, it undermines the people that come here and they do it the legal way. Mm-hmm. The people that wait years upon years upon years and spend hundreds and thousands of dollars. it's a slap in the face to everybody, and then it's also a slap in the face to the actual American citizens, and it disrupts our safety, our resources. It's just like, yes, I can see the point in like morally, immorally, but I don't think it's immoral to take lawbreakers out and put them back where they came.
No.
And it's the same thing too with like how people like to blame ICE for, taking parents and their children and like putting them back. And it's like, why don't you blame the parents for putting their children in that situation in the first place?
Yep.
How do you think they got there? Probably through the cartel. They risked their own child's life to come here the illegal way when they could have done it the right way. It's possible.
What was your dad's experience like? Did you talk about it much explicitly? Like,
no, I was young, so he came to America before I was born because he met my mom here. He was actually born in Mozambique, fled during the communist regime. My vava got a job with the U.S. Embassy, and then him and his brother, my uncle, they came to America separate times, but they both came, green card. And then he met my mom, and he wanted to become an American citizen. And again, it took him like 10 years.
Did they get married and then he got his citizenship?
Yeah,
because
he got his citizenship when I was in like 4th grade.
And then so they move here. They get a green card upon entry. I mean, this is basic
Yeah,
questions. But,
I believe so. I believe that's what he had. And then he went through the process of getting a citizenship. But he was never here. There was never a point where he was here illegally. Like, he was always making sure that his card and whatnot, never expired and everything. And it's tough and it's hard, and you're going to spend a lot of money. And I don't think the system is perfect. I do think that there needs to be some sort of reform. I'm not saying it needs to be like easier in the sense, but just, I was talking, I can't remember his name, but I was talking about it out there, and it's like the system isn't perfect, but still it doesn't mean that it gives you a right to come here illegally when hundreds of thousands of people are coming here and doing it the legal way, and they're waiting.
I've heard that some of the people that are the most upset with the illegal immigration are the legal immigrants.
Yeah, my dad is pissed.
Like,
rightfully so.
I would be so
rightfully so. It's
what a violation of someone's.
Especially because he was.
He has a I'm telling all his secrets. He has a bald eagle tattoo on his shoulder, and that says a American citizen or whatever. And he's like, I want to laser it off.
No, hold the
line. Until they start.
That's terrible. Hold the line.
He's like, no, he loves America. He loves America. He doesn't want to see it turn into the country he fled from. In
a way, people that come here legally obviously love this country. To put yourself through 10 years of not agony.
He has his own business, his own construction business. And he made a great life for himself and his family. It's possible. It's hard work, but like if you really want to be here, it's possible. You can't take the easy way out.
I guess maybe immigration, some people say like put a total freeze on immigration for the moment, whatever that would look like. I don't know. There's people waiting.
Yeah.
And then digitize the process so that it happens faster? Is that you said that needs some reform?
Yeah. I mean, it does suck to wait 10 years to get citizenship, especially when it's most likely, of course, the ones that are doing it the legal way are the ones that really love this country and believe in the American dream and want to make a life for themselves, and they know that they can do it, and America's they think America is the greatest country in the world, and it sucks that they have to be the ones to go through this long process of spending a bunch of money and waiting a bunch of years to do it. I don't know what the reform should be. But it's not easy. So
I want them to know English.
Well, I mean, my dad knows English, so that's good.
He knew it before.
Yeah.
While he was.
Yeah.
That's
because my Volvo worked at the U.S. Embassy in Portugal, so.
That's your grandfather?
No, it's funny. Volvo is technically grandfather in Portuguese, but when I was younger, that's all I really knew how to say was Volvo. So
is your dad?
It's my grandmother.
Oh.
Yeah, so my dad's mom. Yeah.
She worked at the embassy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they were Americanized. I could go on and on, man.
Yeah, I know. Well, maybe you guys can have him here. He'll talk all about it, all his story and everything. It's
not a bad idea.
Did you?
I think that
did you come from South Africa to America and then get your citizenship? What was your process?
Yeah, it's roughly the same as that.
You just sat in a waiting line for
Yeah, I stood in IRS lines for like 10 hours. It was crazy.
Over and over again?
In California, back when Democrats didn't want me in this country.
Oh,
Democrats used to hate coming to the country because we'd like added the tax base. You know what I mean? We were more people that they weren't like super cool with immigrants. Remember, Obama was like the deporter in chief. Everyone forgets that. And
Yeah.
they're like, oh, but we suddenly need to open borders. No, dude. Since when?
Was it like
it's worth noting like the difficulty of becoming a citizen is a feature. It's not a bug. Like you should have to work hard to become an American. And one of the reasons is because the people that will put the effort in actually care about the ideals this country was founded on. People that will come to the United States and go through all of the stuff, pay all the money, show up for their hearings that they have to do all the things that you're supposed to do to come here legally. Those people care about being Americans. They care about being Americans more than most Americans that are born here because they see the value in it. They know what it's like to not be an American. One of the things that like we talk about, I think that you shouldn't be allowed to come to the United States if you don't believe in the values the United States has. So if you're a communist, you shouldn't be like it should be perfect. It should be
to visit or to move here, you mean?
Either.
Well, me up, right? Either.
I don't care. It should be a privilege to come to the United States. So yeah, if you're a communist and you're only coming because you want to visit, like I don't see any reason to grant you a visa. I mean, if you're looking to escape your communist country and you want to become a citizen, you're looking to defect or what? I don't even know if there are countries where you can defect from anymore. But if you're looking to escape a communist country and you want to come to the United States and you hold our values in high esteem, like then okay, you got an argument. Then maybe we can figure something out. But there's no reason to be like, oh yeah, you're from a communist country, so it's fine that you come here to visit.
What if they're like, I want to learn about democracy. What's the problem?
I don't care.
Google.
The internet works.
That's what Google's for.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to immerse myself in the culture.
No,
Please.
no.
Pick up a book.
No.
Northeast Asia.
We don't need it. Like the point is like it should be a privilege to come to the United States because the United States is the greatest country in the world, in my opinion. It should be a privilege to come here. It should be hard to become a citizen, and it should take significant effort. So that way we don't just have people that are like, well, I'm going to get there and I'm going to get a job, and then I'm going to act like all the people in California that were protesting ICE, that were like waving Mexican flags and saying, we hate America. Well, you live here.
Okay, then go back.
Yeah, get out. If you don't love America,
Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
absolutely. We have, like, if you're an American and you're born here and you're an American citizen and you want to, if you hate America, well, we can't do nothing about it. You're an American citizen. It's just like if you have like a crappy relative, they're your relative. Deal with it. You can't do anything about it. Yeah. But if you have a crappy neighbor, you don't have to let that crappy neighbor come into your house and tell you how crappy your house is. You don't have to allow it. You can just be like, get out of here then.
Something I also is sort of a through line is I believe, and I hope that in the future, when people move to a state, they don't get voting rights until they live there for 3 years.
Love it.
For something.
I'd love to
5
see
years?
5 years.
Some
5 or
amount
10.
of time, a long time. That you're a resident. You've been here. You know the land. You know the people. It's 3 years at least, 5 years. So I think extending that to immigrants also would be fine. Especially those ones that are here illegally, shouldn't be counted on a census. First of all, makes absolutely no sense. It's completely logical. And then I'd like
that
to see
would
people,
probably take a constitutional amendment, though.
which one?
It would take an amendment because right now the way the census rules are written, it says it just says count the people. It doesn't say count the citizens. Mm-hmm. So if you live here, unless you're Indians not taxed. So it's possible that the Supreme Court would read it and would say that there's a way to read it that says they're not talking about people that are here illegally. But the letter of the law now, it says they count the people, not including Indians not taxed.
And then 3/5
That's a totally different
count?
thing. That's totally different.
That was not a census thing. Weren't they counting bodies?
Yes,
for the...
yes, it is, but that's not the same.
different.
It's a different thing. They're talking about slaves. Slaves are 3/5. There are no longer slaves, so no one is counted 3/5.
And then that led to someone being like, "Well, what if we treat the people that are here illegally as 3/5 count towards the census until the bodies are sent back home?"
Yeah, I don't imagine that the SCOTUS will find that. I mean, it's possible. Look, and this is just me pontificating. It's not law. It's so what the SCOTUS would actually say is what would really matter. But it's my sense that the way that SCOTUS would rule is, well, it says in the Constitution, count the people, so you have to count the people. And I think that that's part of why you should make it super hard for illegals to live here. There's nothing in the Constitution that says you have to force, you can't punish businesses or punish renters for renting to illegals, or for, and you have to provide ID to rent in most places. You have to provide ID to get a job. So there are plenty of means to make it difficult for illegals to stay here. But I think that when it comes to the actual census, what you have to do is get them to leave, because I don't think that we're going to be able to say we don't count people that are not citizens. I think that the way the Constitution is written, you'd have to actually have an amendment to fix that.
Yeah. Well, on the voting thing too, I follow a girl on social media who she's from America, but her husband is from Scotland. So she actually ended up moving to Scotland. I'm assuming got a citizenship or card or something. I don't know how it works. But she still has her citizenship for America. So she literally she does not live in America anymore. She's been in Scotland for like over a year. She lives in Scotland. She voted in the 2024 election. She voted Kamala. But she's not even here to like experience the new president. So I just find that so crazy that there are people who don't even live in America anymore and can still vote in the election and then not even like reap or sow the benefits of it.
Maybe if they're in the military, at a military base.
She's not in the military. She's literally a social media influencer.
And it's her primary.
Here?
Yeah.
Does she pay taxes in America?
I don't know. I don't know how it works. Probably. It literally, her job is social media. It's like Instagram and YouTube and stuff. And her husband is Scottish, and she lives in Edinburgh, Scotland. And she literally, during the election, was posting, and like people were asking her, like, "Are you voting? I know you live in Scotland now." And she's like, "Yeah, I flew to America to vote."
At least she flew to do it in person.
Yeah, but like still,
yeah,
I'd rather not. She's a major liberal.
If you travel a lot and you have your primary residence in the U.S., but you're overseas 10 months out of the year traveling.
Yeah, but that's different. She literally lives full-time, house, husband, dog in Scotland.
And then I wonder if she has a full-time residence in the
her parents.
Oh,
yeah.
The threads are being pulled.
It's tough because like my sister was working full-time in Japan, and she still was able to vote because she was going to come back. I mean, they were not going to be like, "Oh, you can stay here forever," because they don't let you do that.
I mean, I still vote in New Hampshire. I've got a place down here, but I spend enough time in New Hampshire, and I have my primary residence is New Hampshire. So, I think that you are, as long as you don't give up your citizenship.
Yeah.
You're going to say, look, I'm an American citizzen. I have a place in whatever state or whatever. So that's where I live. I'm not sure the details of it and what the legalities are for that location. Like I pay taxes here in West Virginia because I'm here so much. But when it comes to where I vote, I go back to New Hampshire to vote.
It's about where your residence is, which is kind of nice that because I think what the overmind wants is to know where your body is and where your paperwork says your body is, and make sure it's all the same so that you're not violating the system's tendrils.
Well, the thing is, like, states want their tax money. So West Virginia, because I'm here so much, they want to cut of my pay, right? Because I'm here doing the show and stuff like that. So they want their tax money. There's no income tax in New Hampshire, so it's not a problem. I pay my property tax, and New Hampshire's like, I don't care. Just like whatever. There's no income tax, there's no sales tax. Whereas down here there is income tax, so I got to take care of that in West Virginia.
If New Hampshire had income tax, would you be paying income tax in both states, or do you pick the one? And
wherever you spend most of your time is probably what it's got to be.